Hi everybody, this is Brad. I wanted to go over with you one of the changes that we've kind of been tossing about back and forth a while with the clinical supervisors, and I've spoken with Marion and I think Elaine and Ladina. But one of those is getting rid of the virtual board, because the virtual board contains a lot of information that the coordinator is already collecting throughout the night. The coordinator, as we have known it, collecting it throughout the night, things like the deaths, unscheduled visits, urgent visits, the level of care changes. So that's being collected on a log, and then all that information gets put back again on the virtual board. So we've been talking about getting rid of the virtual board, which is the goal now, and using one document, which I want to show you. First, let's look at the virtual board, as you all know what it looks like. This is what you see. The urgent visits, death visits that come on, inpatient transfers, HealthQuest transfers, Adler, and the codes below. Now, sometimes scheduled visits get put on this too. That's unnecessary because the teams already know what they've scheduled. So they're really looking to see what happened overnight that we can help with, which are unscheduled visits. So let's look at that here. Okay, this is the document. This is the daily report log, and this is pretty much to a T what it looked like before, except it was in a Word document, but it still goes through the same criteria. The column all the way at the end on the left is the date that the patient calls us. Then the patient's name, the patient's ID number, the team number, that will be important shortly, the time of the call, the issue, or if it's a visit request, time that the nurse confirmed, and the name of the nurse who confirmed. So, an example, let's look at this one on the bottom. On July 1st, we got a call regarding lovely Dory, I made up those names, with the ID number 24242 and team number 1216. These are obviously all made up. And at 6 p.m. the call came through. Now the call came from a Capital Caring RN who's reporting the death of the patient. The crisis care RN is on site with the patient. So that means that it doesn't apply that we confirm a visit with the nurse, and we don't need obviously time because the RN will do the pronouncement on site. If you scroll all the way a little over here, you'll see this is where we have the level of care change information, and that pertains to patients who are transferred to the Providence, Greenbelt, not Greenbelt yet, but Providence, HealthQuest, Adler IPUs. And so, for instance, on July 1st, Henry Loans 88888 with the team number 1014 was transferred to the Providence IPU for pain and agitation, and that all happened at 6:45. So that will alert the clinical supervisors in the morning about this. So the plan is that every morning, instead of the virtual board, this will be sent either in a document form or a snippy, I call it a snippy, of the document, and it's sent as a picture so the folks can see that, the clinical supervisors. Now what's important here is that we, care navigators, send the following information, which are hospitalizations, which, if you look here, you will see for Peter Henry, the caregiver called reporting that the patient went 911, and we need to make sure that a nurse visits the patient at Fairfax Hospital, and the time of the call came in at 5:10, and Nurse Jenny was the person who confirmed the visit in the hospital. Now, as you know, we only visit hospitals where we have permission to go. Currently, we do not go to Virginia Hospital without authority from the hospital. So the hospital calls us and says, send a nurse. In other cases, we should be sending a nurse to the ER. Like Molly Brooks says, if they go, we should go. That is the philosophy, except at Virginia Hospital Center. So, care navigators will report hospitalizations like Mr. Henry, patients who have died, like lovely Dory, GIP transfers, like Henry Loans, and that also includes level of care changes. So a patient who goes from home to a GIP center is a level of care change, or if a patient enters crisis care at 1 a.m., that's a level of care change. And our general visit requests, for instance, for pain and agitation. And all that gets sent to the coordinator. They pop it into this report, and it does not go onto a virtual board anymore because we use this one report. And in the mornings, the team gets this. Now you might wonder, well, why do they need to see all these teams? They don't. So they're going to have to sort. And you can look at this if you want to, but this is what the teams will do. They will highlight the column that says team, go up to data, and go to sort, which is A through Z. And you want to expand the selection, because when you expand the selection, you get all the information in the same row that pertains to the patient, so it doesn't get jumbled up. So for instance here, Peter Henry at 510, and I click sort, and Peter Henry remains at 510. But notice that all of 1014 patients are now all together, and so the clinical supervisor can cut and paste that into their morning report. So the goal of this is to make it more efficient for us. No need to do duplicate work any longer. We're reporting what the teams need to know, which is what happened overnight. I expect that they know what visits they've already scheduled and what start of cares they've already scheduled. All right. As always, call me if you have any questions. Thanks a lot. Bye.